Let's talk about the biggest draft targets and needs for the Los Angeles Chargers in the NFL draft. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers have the 5th overall pick, and I expect for them to go out there and possibly trade the pick because Coach Harbaugh is going out there with his best interest in play by hyping up his former quarterback in college and J.J. McCarthy. This man is speaking of J.J. like he's a second coming of Justin Herbert, the way that he is talking about him. He has called him the best quarterback in this draft class, and I believe that he's playing chess, not checkers. Yes, he's supposed to stick up for his quarterback that he helped develop in college, but at the same time, it's a lot of teams in the NFL draft that need to go out there and select a quarterback. If the Chargers trade back from having the 5th overall pick, they can get more assets in this draft class or in future draft classes as well. So that's one thing to take note of. But the Chargers do stay with the 5th overall pick. They have to go wide receiver or offensive line. You have a brand new offensive play caller in Greg Roman. Everywhere that Greg Roman has been, this man has helped produce some of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. With the San Francisco 49ers, when they made that Super Bowl push with Colin Kaepernick many years ago when they went against the Baltimore Ravens, they had a dominant rushing attack. With the Baltimore Ravens, when he was with Lamar Jackson, he helped Lamar Jackson become an NFL MVP. And they ran the football like it was no tomorrow. They had a top rushing attack as well. The way that this man speaks about football and the way that he moves around offensive linemen and the way that he motions out wide receivers is all to help out the run game and to ultimately help out the quarterback. And you want to help Justin Herbert as much as possible. Over the last couple of years, the Chargers have went out there. They selected guys like Mike Williams in the first round, Quentin Johnson in the first round. They're trying to beat teams by just passing over and over again. You had Austin Eckler, who was not a bad receiving back, but he was not the ideal running back to run in between the tackles. And it put the Chargers into a bad situation. On 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2, they cannot run the football and get those easy yards. You now have a running back in Gus Edwards who can go out there and he can get those 3rd and 1 type of conversions when you need him to. When it's a 2nd and 3, he can go out there and convert. This is a man that just came off a very good season with the Baltimore Ravens. 13 rushing touchdowns on the season, 810 rushing yards as well. He's a very good running back. He averaged 4 yards a carry. In the past, he's averaged over 5 yards a carry in the seasons in his career. So I think that he's a very good power back to have with this team. And you can get him the football 20 to 25 times in the game. With Austin Eckler, you cannot do that, because the same speed and burst is not there late in the game. Gus Edwards can go out there. He could truck through guys. He's going to make life easier on Justin Herbert. And it unlocks something that the Chargers haven't had in a very long time. A consistent play action game. Imagine Justin Herbert in a play action game. And I think that's what this coaching staff is trying to do with Coach Harbaugh and with Coach Roman as well. They want to go out there, run the football, and give Justin Herbert the best chance to go out there, get the play action going, and just make life easier on Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert has put up great numbers with lack of a consistent run game. So imagine what he can do with a strong run game. Now, they have sacrificed some wide receivers because of this. Mike Williams was asked to take a pay cut. He wanted to work things out. He wanted to stay with the team. It wasn't going to work out, so they released him. And this is the guy that was coming off a torn ACL. He is now with the New York Jets. Keenan Allen was asked to take another pay cut. The reason why I say another pay cut, he just took a pay cut a year ago. He just restructured his contract. He wasn't going to do that again this season with this team, because he had a very good season this season, and he only missed a couple of games, and he proved that he is still one of the best route runners in the NFL. Keenan Allen is a monster, and Keenan Allen was the best consistent wide receiver with this team over the last couple of years, even when Mike Williams was healthy. Mike Williams was very good, but the thing was with Keenan Allen, he was a true game changer. He could go out there and catch the football 14 to 15 times in one game if you needed him to. Great hands. With him no longer being on this team, it's a major hole in that wide receiving room. Yes, they need an offensive tackle to go out there and help out the run game and to help out Justin Herbert, and to also go out there and help out their other franchise tackle in Rashawn Slater, who is a beast, and he's one of the best tackles in the game when he is 100% healthy. The thing is, with the Chargers, you have to get some wide receiving help with Justin Herbert as well. You just can't go out there and run the football over and over again with Gus Edwards. Yes, you selected Quentin Johnson in the first round in last year's draft class. He did not look good his rookie season. He had a lot of drops, and we can go back to that Green Bay Packers game. They would have won that game if he would have caught the football. Instead, he dropped the football, and it ended the game right then and there. He had a lot of bad moments. The last 3 to 4 weeks of the season, he did pick it up, and you hope that Coach Harbaugh can develop him. But this is a kid. You do not expect for him to go out there and to be a true number 1 wide receiver overnight. He is 6'4", 215 pounds. He can get open. The only thing is his hands. That's it. On certain routes, he isn't the best. On drags and posts, he's very good. But you want him to run some comeback routes. He doesn't have the chemistry just yet with Justin Herbert. You give him a full offseason and a full training camp with this brand new coaching staff, I think that he will be better. I'm not giving up on this kid. I know some people already have. I'm going to be patient with Quentin Johnson. I think that he could be a very solid wide receiver moving forward, but I don't expect for him to be Keenan Allen or Mike Williams just yet. But he can shock a lot of people. He can have a breakout sophomore season with this team because he did miss some games in his rookie season to where certain games he couldn't see the field. They started playing him when Mike Williams went down after the halfway point in the season. So you give him some more reps, I think that he will get better. And the best way for him to go out there and improve is to just give him live action reps. That's just how it is with some young wide receivers. You also have Joshua Palmer with this team as well. 581 receiving yards on the season, 2 receiving touchdowns. That's not good enough. I think that he's a number 2 wide receiver at best or a number 3 wide receiver. One thing that is very interesting with the Chargers, a couple of years ago, when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both missed time, Justin Herbert legit made Joshua Palmer and DeAndre Carter look like number 1 and number 2 wide receivers. And he did that against the Kansas City Chiefs and against the Las Vegas Raiders. He had those guys out there balling. He was throwing those guys wide open. So that's why I have a lot of faith in Quentin Johnson moving forward. If he can just work on his hands and he can just consistently get open, Justin Herbert can make those throws to get this kid deep down the field. And we've seen in certain situations to where Justin Herbert's floating to the right side and he's just pointing the wide receivers to go deep down the field when the play breaks down. So he can get the best out of the wide receivers around him. It just comes down to, can those wide receivers wake up and can they step up with this team? The offensive line or the wide receiving position will definitely be addressed in the first round. And this is when I asked you guys this question in the video. Where would you want to see the Chargers go with the 5th overall pick? Do you want to see them trade back, or do you want to see them go with a guy like Rome Odunze or a guy like Olu Fashanu, the tackle out of Penn State? And this is when we get into the prospects here. Because if they do go tackle in the first round, they could go with Joe Alt. Joe Alt is a very good tackle out of Notre Dame. They can select him. You pair him up with a guy like Rashawn Slater, or you go with Olu Fashanu or a guy like J.C. Latham. One of those tackles would fit very well in this system. They're all nasty tackles. They're all great in the run game, and they fit Greg Roman's system. Then in the second round, you could possibly go with a wide receiver like Roman Wilson, who is a wide receiver for Michigan. And guess who was a former head coach of Michigan? Coach Harbaugh. He helped develop this kid. Now, he's not your traditional wide receiver with the Chargers. The Chargers haven't went out there and they have not had slot wide receivers on this team in terms of being under 6 foot. The last couple of years, you had Mike Williams, big body wide receiver. Keenan Allen, big body wide receiver. The same with Quentin Johnson as well. This team would benefit a lot from going out there and getting a guy with his speed. This guy is like a lightning bolt, just full of energy. And I expected for him to go out there and have a bigger season with Michigan. But the thing was this, they ran the football so well to where his numbers weren't that great coming out of Michigan. He did have some solid games, and he had a 61-yard touchdown pass that went for a screenplay. So he has this speed. He runs a 4.39. I think that he'll be very good inside the slot, working off of that play action as well over the top. Yes, you had DeAndre Carter, but DeAndre Carter doesn't have the speed like how this kid has the speed. And I think that he can develop to the next level. Now, if they do go wide receiver in the first round, now your tackle options aren't the same like how they would be in the first round. That's why it's so interesting with the Chargers. It would really make sense to just go tackle in the first round because this is a deep wide receiving class. If they don't go with a guy like Roman Wilson in the second round, you have a lot of other guys you can go with in that wide receiving room. It's a chance that Keon Coleman slides out of the first round. He fits what the Chargers won over the last couple of years, a big body wide receiver. You have Troy Franklin as well. If he slides out of the first round, you can pick him up. Those are guys that could be on the bubble, and they could be waiting for you in the second round. That's one of the things that you talk about right now with the Chargers. So it really would make sense to just go with an offensive tackle in the first round to help out that run game, to help out Justin Herbert as well. And they need defensive help. Now, Khalil Mack had a phenomenal season this season. Joey Bosa has been able to stay healthy. Now, when Joey Bosa is fully healthy, he's one of the better edge rushers in the AFC. The problem is that kid has been the injuries. This is one of those years you look at him. If he can't stay healthy, you may have to move off of him. But I love them keeping him and Khalil Mack around. When they first made that trade to go get Khalil Mack, a lot of people, including myself, thought it was over with this division. When you stack that team up with the weapons that they had on the offensive end and with those 2 defensive ends, then they had just signed J.C. Jackson as well. You thought for sure the next thing was going to happen with this team. They're going to be taken up to the next level. Instead, it did not happen because you had a horrible head coach and Brandon Staley. You had a terrible offensive play caller and Coach Lombardi as well. And I expect with better coaching for this team to have a higher ceiling than they ever did with Coach Staley. You have to address some other needs on the defense as a whole, though, because their secondary, they need help. Derwin James is a solid safety to have around. He's not the same safety that he was early in his career, but he's still solid to have around. I'm looking at a guy that could come across and help out Asante Samuel Jr. Now, they did go out there and they did sign Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton is a very interesting cornerback from LSU. Now, he has some games with the Tennessee Titans to where it says, okay, this kid is struggling here. He fits Coach Jesse's defense, though. Coach Jesse is a brand new defensive coordinator with this team. He comes over from Michigan, was a tremendous defensive mind at Michigan. He's a big body, lanky corner. He could possibly be that number 2 corner alongside Asante Samuel Jr. But I do expect for him to go out there and target the secondary in the NFL draft as well. But it really just comes down to what they do in the first round. If they hit offensive line in the first round, the second round, you have to go wide receiver. You have to target one of those guys. You can also go with a guy like Ladd McConkey, a wide receiver from Georgia. I think that he'll fit into the system very well. So let me know in the comment section below. What should the Los Angeles Chargers do in the NFL draft, and what should they do with the 5th overall pick? Should they trade back or should they stay there? And if they do stay there, should they go with a tackle or a wide receiver? And do you guys think that the Chargers are headed into the best direction possible with Coach Harbaugh? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, when each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.